In this calculus question, they ask you to calculate the area under the given curves on the given interval. So we have two functions, 7 cosine 2x and 7 minus 7 cosine 2x, and the interval between 0 and pi over 2. There is a different video that I explain how to graph these two functions. And in this video, we will calculate these areas that are asked. So the first area I'm gonna shade in yellow, and the second area I'm gonna shade in blue, but I only need it until pi over 2. So here is pi over 2. To do these calculations, I need to find the point where they intercept. So to find the point, I have to set these two functions equal to each other. So I will have 7 cosine 2x is equal to 7 minus 7 cosine of 2x. Move them on one side, cosine, so we'll have 14 cosine 2x is equal to 7. And then we will have cosine 2x is equal to 1/2. And for arc cosine, when we take for function, the cosine function, again, we're only looking between 0 and pi over 2. So if we're looking only at the first quadrant, for that quadrant, pi over 2 happens for 1 over 2. It happens when it is pi over 3. So for pi over 3, I have on the x-axis, I would have 1/2. And on the y-axis, I would have the square root of 3 over 2. And my x-axis is the cosine. So arc cosine of 1/2 in the first quarter would be pi over 3. So I will have 2x is equal to arc cosine, inverse cosine of 1/2. And that is equal to pi over 3. From here, I see that x is equal to pi over 6. So the graphs intercept at pi over 6. And here we have pi over 2, and this one is pi. So we'll have to have two integrals. One is when the top function is cosine 7x, so the red one, the red function is, or maybe I will underline them right here. So this is my red function, cosine 7 cosine of 2x, and this one is my blue function. So in the first interval between 0 and pi over 6, my top function is 7 cosine 2x. So I'm going to have the integral between 0 and pi over 6 of 7 cosine 2x minus the second function. So I will have 7, and then again minus negative 7, which gives me positive 7 cosine 2x dx. So this is for the yellow area. I can collect like terms, so I'm going to have 0 to pi over 6 integral, and then I have 14 cosine 2x minus 7 dx. Take an integral of this, we will get 7 sine 2x minus 7x with the limits of integration between 0 and pi over 6. And that will give me 7. 2 times pi over 6 gives me pi over 3. And sine of pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2 minus, and I have 7 times pi over 6, which is 7 pi over 6. If I plug in a 0, I'm just going to have a 0. So the area of the yellow part is 7 square root of 3 over 2 minus 7 pi over 6. So that is the yellow area. Now we're going to calculate the blue area and then we just add them. So for the blue area, we have different intervals. It's between pi over 6 and pi over 2. The top function now is the blue one, which is 7 minus 7 cosine 2x. And the bottom function is 7 cosine 2x. So I subtract the top function from the bottom function. And then we have the integral from pi over 6 to pi over 2. And then we have 7 minus 14 cosine 7x. And all of that dx. Taking the integral of this part will give us 7x minus 7 sine, it's 2x, of 2x. And the integration points are pi over 6 and pi over 2. Plug in these values will give me 7 times pi over 2 minus 7. And then I have sine of pi, sine times pi over 2, which is sine of pi, and that one is 0, so I can cancel this term. Now I'm going to plug in pi over 6. So it's going to be minus, and then everything with what involves with pi over 6. So we'll have 7 pi over 6 minus 7, and I have sine 2x, and x is pi over 6, which is 2 pi over 3, 2 times pi over 6, which is pi over 3. So sine of pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2. I'm not going to collect like terms yet. So the blue area right here, we have the result, which is 7 pi over 2 minus 7 pi over 6 minus and minus will give me plus 7 square roots of 3 over 2. And then I'm going to add these two areas, and that will be my result for the area underneath those two curves between 0 and pi over 2. I collect like terms. 7 square root of 3 over 2 plus 7 square root of 3 over 2 gives me 2 of them, which gives me 7 square roots of 3. And then I have 7 pi over 6 and 7 pi over 6 both negative, so I have 2 of them, and 14 pi over 6 will give me 7 pi over 3. And then I have 7 pi over 2. The common denominator for these two is 6. So if I times the first fraction by 2, I will get 14 pi in the numerator and denominator multiplied by 2. Second fraction multiplied by 3 gives me 21 pi. In the denominator would be 6. And then I have 7 square roots of 3. Here I have to be careful where I place this negative. It's addition, and 7 pi over 3 is negative. So it's the same as having it like that. So I have to, if I place them together in the fraction like this, I have to be careful. So I have 7 square roots of 3, and then 21 minus 14 gives me 7 pi over 6. So the final answer for the area underneath those two curves is going to be 7 square roots of 3 plus 7 pi over 6.